This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
This is a sham.
No.
Y'all, just stop. Get real.
Welcome to DBL. It has been an intense few days for former President Donald Trump after the assassination attempt on Saturday. And just this morning, the judge in the classified documents case against him has dismissed the case in a big win for Trump. Of course, Trump is in Milwaukee for the Republican National Convention that starts today. Trump spoke with the New York Post yesterday about the assassination attempt on his life. He says a chunk of his ear is missing and that he wanted to continue speaking even after getting shot. There's also footage out there like this of the 20-year-old gunman, I'm just taking a look here, who was seen on a rooftop about 450 feet from the podium. He was killed shortly after by Secret Service. After the events over the weekend, both President Biden and Trump are calling for unity. Here's what the president said yesterday.
You know, the political record in this country has gotten very heated. It's time to cool it down. We all have a responsibility to do that. Let's remember, here in America, while unity is the most elusive of goals right now, nothing is more important for us now than standing together. We can do this.
Trump has been posting on social media saying, quote, "In this moment, it is more important than ever that we stand united and show our true character as Americans." Okay, so what do we take all of this? Let's just get everybody's reaction. And will this change the tone of the RNC, which the Secret Service is saying they are fully ready and prepared for? Al, what did you think of the news when you heard?
Well, when I was really interested to see where everybody was when they heard, because I like to hand paint shoes because I'm 95 years old, and my phone was going off, and I actually silenced it. And when I found out about it and found out how close it was, it really hit me how just a few centimeters can change the course of a country. I will say this, now that we've had a couple days to digest and really process as a nation. If we never say this, Jeff, Steph, Tori, I'm proud of the way that the presidential candidates are handling this. This was an opportunity for Trump to rally his base like never before. He could have gotten them frothed up and out for vengeance. And I think getting shot at changes you. I've never been shot at, but I have friends who have, and it changes your perspective on life and how quickly that can change or be taken from you. So I'm really happy. I'm happy in how the candidates are handling it.
I know exactly what you mean, and I felt the same way. Biden coming out and trying to unify the country, not speaking out against it. Trump saying that's what he wants to do moving forward. He said he's got, a second chance at life, so to speak. And that's what I felt. I kind of felt like there was some unity, but I also saw a lot of division. People I thought of you, Al, actually, because you're very passionate about the Sandy Hook, that whole thing with,
right.
What's his name?
Alex Jones.
Alex Jones, yeah. And I think about those families, and I think about the man.
I couldn't even watch. I couldn't finish the doc. I couldn't get through it.
I think about the man who lost his life protecting his family. Mm-hmm. And when people are saying that this is a hoax or this is staged, and then you hear from his daughter saying what a hero he was, that's a spit in America's face. I don't care what side you're on. If this was Biden, if this was Trump, you do not congratulate someone or say better luck next time or I wish he would have got him. That you shouldn't be able to vote. We've done all this cancel culture stuff to go back. You should find out those people that said that and take away their voting privilege. Because if you want to incite that sort of anger, that's not American. And we need to get back, like both presidential candidates are saying, we need to get back to uniting each other.
I completely agree. I just want to go on what you were saying and show and give the name. This is Corey, I hope I'm saying the name right, Compatore, I hope I'm saying that correctly. He died shielding his entire family from gunfire. He spent years as a volunteer firefighter. He needs to be honored and shown his face. Others were critically injured, including a 57-year-old Marine veteran and a 74-year-old retired man. I don't really care to show the shooter. I'm sure you guys have all seen, but he is acting alone, is what people have suggested. His motive is still unclear. Steph, you've been in this country for, 7 years now. Have you seen a difference in the rhetoric and the violence as we've ramped up?
Absolutely. I mean, I think the America that I first came to, 7 years is not that long in the grand scheme of things. But I think we've become more divisive. I think we've become more violent. And during the time I've literally been sat on this show, the amount of shootings, it's out of control every day. Whether it's at schools, whether it's in public, at malls, at shopping,
Grocery
whatever.
stores, yeah.
And I just hope and pray, this is horrendous. This is not an America that I particularly want to live in. If this is the kind of violence now that we're talking about. It's awful. I don't necessarily agree with Biden, I don't agree with Trump, but this is getting out of control. And I pray that this urges the powers that be that have got the power to relook at the gun laws. I pray, because if this isn't going to do it, what is?
Yeah, I agree.
At what point do we just let this continue and continue? It's just so out of control at this point.
But on the counterpoint to that stuff, I just want to say quickly, we could go into the Secret Service thing, later, but the way just the crowd reacted when there's gunfire, active gunfire, not knowing where it came from, then the Secret Service had to jump in, and when they did, I thought they did a good job.
Absolutely.
I don't know how they did protecting the scene,
Yeah, I have
but
some
that's
on
a
that.
whole we'll go into that. But the reaction really shocked me.
Me too.
Of the crowd, just how gunfire, I don't know where it's coming from, USA. We're so immune to gunfire in this country
People
that
didn't even move, Jeff.
You
They
would
didn't
think
move.
there's stampeding
They
each
didn't
other.
even move. One guy just sat there behind the president. Was like, huh.
That really shocked
too.
me, the
Me
reaction
too.
to the crowd
too.
and how numb we are to gun violence in this country.
I completely
You might
agree.
remember a little while ago, I was at a place where there was a shooting, and literally I said, all the children, because it was a children's event, just casually just sit on the floor, just go like
they
this.
just get numb.
And I just couldn't believe what was going on. I was like, what happens in this situation? Everyone's they just sit on the floor.
I know. It's very nice. Let me get to this point, though, because one of the big questions, and this is where I am right now, after Saturday's shooting, this is where I am, was the failure of the Secret Service, and not the body people that took him, but the problem on the perimeter to keep the president safe. Both the president and Republicans are now calling for an investigation into what happened. Meantime, the focus is also on security for the RNC, the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, which is hosting around 50,000 people. The Secret Service, like I said the agency was, quote, ready to go. They're not anticipating any changes to our operational security plans for the event. So after Saturday's failure to keep Trump safe, are you surprised they're not doing more for the convention? I got to be honest with you. I have all these notes here, and several say people noticed him crawling and spoke to police. I also have him being noticed outside the Secret Service's magnetron. They noticed him acting funny and to keep an eye on him. Why that wasn't secure with a drone or a helicopter? Al, are you shocked? I was shocked by this, that a gun that big was allowed that close to the president.
I am,
I was shocked.
and sadly, I am not. I'm going to quote the great George Carlin when he said, "Nothing and no activity can ever be completely safe." I mean, the Prime Minister of Japan was murdered in a country. Abe, yes,
Yeah.
and they don't have really guns in that country. The guy made a ghost gun, I think.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, when somebody's willing to trade their life for yours, there's very little you can do. Now, the best you can do is have the Secret Service. And when there is a president that is shot, it does seem like that should have been secure. So we do have questions, but sadly, I'm not surprised.
Well,
I'm just saying, from I don't know the military or police, all that goes into it, but I know vantage points, and you'd think that'd be a huge vantage point if someone was trying to assassinate the president. So yeah, you want to get up on there. That was a huge mistake, whether it was intentional or not. There will be an investigation, but that was a huge mistake by the.
Kimberly,
was it the Secret Service or CIA?
It could have been HSI, which we're looking.
I want to make sure I get the right.
Exactly, but Kimberly Cheadle, the head of the Secret Service, will be speaking at the House in the next week to testify on what would happen. Many are calling for her to lose her job. Coming up on DBL, we're talking all about Alec Baldwin's manslaughter case that got dismissed. Did you miss that? What led to the judge's decision? And we're remembering the many we lost over the weekend. Shannon Doherty, Richard Simmons, and the one and only Dr. Ruth, who all died. How will you remember these pop culture icons? Welcome back to DBL. So we lost a few stars over the weekend that many of us grew up with on our TVs, like Richard Simmons, Dr. Ruth, and Shannon Doherty. Shannon passed away from breast cancer on Saturday. She was 53. She got her start as a child star in the last season of Little House on the Prairie, playing Jenny Wilder, and later she starred in movie theaters in Heathers and on the TV show Charmed. But it was her role as Brenda Walsh on 90210 in the 90s that made her a star. Shannon was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2015, but it later spread to her bones and her brain. And on a recent podcast of her podcast, she talked about going back on chemotherapy. Take a look.
Like, the idea of going through that all over again has wrecked me. Sorry? It's wrecked me in the sense of, like, yes, I knew I had stage 4. Yes, I knew it was really serious. But when you have to go to the hospital and you have to, you know, get put under and a port put in you, it becomes very real in an incredibly different way.
Man, that is my mom at a port. That's just, nothing good is about that. The only thing I can say is that she put a face to breast cancer and raised so much awareness and was so open with her battle.
Right. We've seen people, there's obviously two ways to handle the cancer situation. Be very private with it, which everybody understands. I think that's what I might do. But like you said, her providing a voice to it, even right up until days before, is I can't imagine what she's done for people currently going through it and that will go through it.
It's so brave.
Well, providing so much comfort for people
right.
going through it, and for also those that are carers or family or friends, like hearing that perspective, because when it's you, maybe you don't have the courage or you don't want to talk about it, and it gives a bit of an insight so how other people can support you as well. It's incredibly brave.
It really is, and may her memory be a blessing. We're also mourning the loss of Richard Simmons, who passed away Saturday, a day after his 76th birthday. He reportedly died of natural causes. No foul play is suspected. Richard was a mainstay on TV in the 1980s with his Sweatin' to the Oldies. We all remember these workout videos. He was also known for his unhinged appearances on talk shows like Letterman. And he made this memorable entrance on his first appearance on Ellen. I mean, the man flew in at one point with wings.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Love it.
For the past decade, he's been out of the public eye, but recently started communicating with his fans through social media. He did confirm in March he'd been treated for skin cancer, but said he's doing well. Jeff, you had the opportunity to meet him?
Yeah, a friend of mine is a good friend of Richard Simmons, so I got to meet him one time, and we did the oldies dance in Beverly Hills, me and Jordan. But he was such a sweet guy, brought so many people's smiles over the years. Oh yeah, thank God
That's you?
Thank God that's a grainy video. He made me take off my shirt, and he's holding it in his hand.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
He's calling your agent.
Yeah, so we had a good time. We had a really good time. But he brought so many people's smiles. And, you know, towards the end of his life, we didn't hear from him for like a decade.
That's right.
And I'm glad he got that love
Me too.
towards the end, you
Me
know,
too.
kind of back into the spotlight and know in his heart how many people truly loved him.
Was he big in the UK?
Oh, yeah. I remember
wow.
being a little girl. Like, I'm a really aerobic freak. I actually love it so much.
I didn't know that.
Richard Simmons, man. He's like,
The costumes, the glitter,
It's
his
everything.
extras, vibrancy.
Brooks and I were walking down the street in West Hollywood, and a man reached. I heard a voice go, "If you're walking with a girl that pretty, you should hold her hand." And he rolled down his window, and it was Richard Simmons.
Was it British Richard Simmons?
Yeah.
But it was when no one had really seen him for a while, and it was
that's
really,
so
really special. So he gave a lot of people who also felt like no one was addressing obese people, or he gave them a road to getting better and feeling better about themselves.
Almost ground zero for the fitness journey we're on now as a country.
Absolutely.
And as a planet, yeah.
Absolutely. And finally, I have to get to Dr. Ruth, oh my God, Westheimer, who got us all talking about sex. She's died at the age of 96. Dr. Ruth died peacefully at her home in New York City with her children at her side. As a girl, she escaped Nazis in her home of Germany. Her parents actually were killed in the Holocaust, but later went on to break the stigma surrounding sex. She had her call-in radio show and wrote columns for Playboy. She was also a frequent guest on late-night talk shows, often shocking the host over her frankness. If you didn't know, after she left and escaped at very young the Holocaust, she went back and joined the what was then the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, and became a trained sniper, and was actually a fantastic sniper. And it really changed the course of how we discuss sex in this country.
No, I don't know if she changed the course. She started the course.
Correct, yeah.
No one was saying that kind of stuff. We're all so immersed in it now. It's every TikTok video. No one was saying words that the biological terms, talking about private, intimate moments. What happens if you're having issues?
Yes.
Things people did not discuss.
That's right.
And it's a huge loss, but I hope that we recognize what she did.
Absolutely. She was only 4'7", but she left such a great legacy. Coming up on DBL, Alec Baldwin's manslaughter case, it gets dismissed. What led to that decision? We're talking about it next. Stay with us. Welcome back to DBL. So Alec Baldwin's manslaughter case has been dismissed over misconduct. On Friday, Alec broke down in tears after the New Mexico judge dismissed the case. He then hugged his lawyers, turned around, he hugged his wife, Hilaria, who I call Hillary. During testimony last week, it was revealed someone brought ammunition to the police, saying it could be related to the shooting of Helena Hutchins on the Rust set. But prosecutors kept this from the defense because they thought it was unrelated and unimportant. The judge said this late evidence was, quote, highly prejudicial to Alex's case and ruled that charges cannot be filed against him again. What?
They were just looking for a reason to throw this out. They were just kidding. This case was nothing to begin with. We've said this on the show a ton of times. They should have never, just the gun alone that they dismantled and then the defense couldn't test it, and then not prosecuting him as a producer and overseeing the whole show rather than just an actor. This case was going nowhere, and this was an excuse to get rid of it.
I have a hard time feeling that this wasn't because he's very wealthy and he got some kind of different kind of justice in this case.
Did you guys think, like, Steph, did you think that meant that there was some agenda from somebody, the fact that they hid the bullets?
I mean, I think it's all very, to me, suspicious. It all seems very strange. It seems as though a lot of evidence has not been brought that is crucial, in my opinion.
And when they looked at the bullets,
I don't know how that can't be retried, like, by the other side. Like, can they not? I mean, it's already been done in court now, so that's it, right? That's it. We just move on and let it go. But I feel like if I was the other side, I would be campaigning, like, we need to revisit X, Y, and Z.
Well, why can't they bring it to him as a producer? I'm not saying I want him to go to jail. I just think for Helena Hutchins' family who want justice.
She has no justice.
The justice was the armorer, and now the armorer might have an appeal. But the armorer is the one who caused this. That was her job. That's it. Her job alone. Being an actor has nothing to do with that. I don't care if he pulled the trigger or not. It was this woman's fault. She didn't check the guns. She put live rounds in there, and it's her fault. Justice was served.
Have you ever like been around somebody that like works around like heavy machinery, saws, guns, anything that could be dangerous? How serious they take that, and how serious they're like, hey, don't play around with that. Don't turn that on. No, you can't be here unless somebody's spotting you. The fact that this armorer was out plinking, shooting tin cans basically, and it's...
We all agree the armorer was negligent.
Right.
But the idea, I'm not like after Alec Baldwin, but the idea that like he has no part of it in it all, I don't know. I feel like there was negligence in his part in the actor of knowing how to handle a weapon on set.
Do you think they should find out who displaced that evidence?
Yeah.
Because I think that if Helena Hutchins' family is
feels
like, we got no justice here, if she gets out on appeal, Alec Baldwin's dismissed, it's like, well, who's the point person that caused all this?
Right.
I would think it would be the person that misplaced those bullets at the police station.
And by the way, when they looked at the bullets, they looked exactly the same as the others, so why displace it? It just seems so fishy.
So strange.
Yeah, it just smells really bad to me. But anyway, we'll be right back. Let us know what you think. Welcome back. Do you find it more difficult to exercise during the hot summer months? I do.
Yeah, it's just hot.
It's just hot, and I want to do my walk. If you do, you're not alone. So experts say exercising when it's hot outside is more about going slow and steady than pushing yourself. Your body will be working harder because of the heat. So make sure you hydrate in advance of your workout. So how do y'all stay fit in the summer? Do you avoid doing things outdoors? I like to do a little run around Sloan's Lake, and now it's like I can't even go there.
I think I'm going to do anything outside. It has to be first thing in the morning or last thing at night, because in the middle of the day, it's so hot.
Yeah.
And when I see people that own dogs letting their dogs sweat and burn their little paws, please don't. Look after your pets.
Agreed. If you can put your hand and you can't hold it for more than 5 seconds, your pet's paws are going to burn.
Yeah, I hate when I see them like jumping because they're, or in the shade and their owner's like, come on, and you're like, they're so hot.
I know, too hot. Something that helps your joints along with exercising is Omega XL. It's a powerful joint support that's helped millions of consumers, and it's backed by 30 years of clinical research. Omega XL's powerful and proven benefits have transformed the lives of athletes, celebrities, and dedicated daily users. So go ahead and call 1-800-814-6985 or visit omegaxl.com for more information. We love sharing your comments. This is about Alec Baldwin. Gigi agrees with Jeff. I didn't think he should have been charged to begin with. Celebrity deaths, Sherry says, so many icons lost this weekend. Richard Simmons was so inspirational.
Can I send us out on a positive note? I appreciate
Please
Steph
do.
and your little one-woman show there with the dog and the owner, and the owner wants to go, but the dog is hot. You really took me into your world for a second, so thank you.
It's a daily occurrence, and it's really upset.
Do you ever yell, put your dog away?
No, I'm not that confident, but sometimes I'm like, it's too hot, guys. Too hot.
There you go.